All right, I call this meeting of the Mount Vernon Independent School District to order. Let the record show that a quorum of board members is present, that this meeting has been duly called, and that notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. Need a motion to certify the agenda. Made by Robert, seconded by Scott. Or excuse me, Leanne.
I know we look so much alike.
I was fixing to say Josh. On the rare deal right there.
I think that was my hand.
I'll go ahead and slow down a little bit here.
3 people.
All four?
I'm sorry.
That's 6-0. Let the record show that Linda is not present at the moment. I'll pray for myself and get together here. God, thank you for bringing us here tonight, and we pray for us. We pray for every one of us board members and the superintendent sitting here in this administration, that you would just give us wisdom, help us to make good decisions, and do things like we're supposed to do. God, just pray with these kids that are coming to school up here and the end of the year. Lord, just help everything to go well. Pray for the different things going on in different countries. Lord, just help us remember how good we have it here in America, and help us to remember how blessed we are. Thank you for all the folks that we have and all the blessings we have. We ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen. Pledges. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one indivisible.
All right. At this time, the board will adjourn into executive session pursuant to the following sections of the Texas Open Meeting Act. That's, I don't know what government code that is, 55107.
And 55107 and 55107.
Okay, at 5:17 p.m.
Okay.
We shall return.
So we're going to go into executive session real quick, but we'll be back here at about 6 o'clock.
Okay.
Okay, so about 30-40 minutes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, you ready?
Okay, 6:23 p.m. Board convenes back into open session. Let the record show that at 6:20, Linda Baird joined the meeting. 5:20, excuse me.
By 9 o'clock it was 5. Just say.
At this time, we'll move into item 4, special recognitions. Dr. McCullough.
Carson, folks, thank you for being patient with us. We were having some more training, and that went just a couple minutes longer than what we anticipated. So thank you for waiting on us. We apologize for making you have to wait. We're going to start with what I enjoy probably most about our board meetings, and that is recognizing and honoring our teachers and staff members of the month. And so we are going to start with we have actually 2 auxiliary staff members of the month this month. So we're going to start with them. First, I'm going to ask Miss Maria Martinez to come forward. Sorry.
Joel went back in.
So, Mr. Thompson says, Maria Martinez is a very hard worker. She goes above and beyond her regular duties as an excellent custodian for the district. She is always busy and always has a smile on her face. Maria cleans her cafeterias multiple times a day along with her other duties without any complaints. She is a very nice person with an incredibly positive attitude, which makes her a joy to be around. We truly appreciate and are grateful to have such an outstanding and dedicated employee. So, Auxiliary Staff Member of the Month, Miss Maria Martinez. Picture. Very good. You want to say anything?
Thank you.
Okay. Next, I'm going to ask Miss Jennifer Mackey to come forward. There she is. This says Jennifer Mackey is long overdue to be recognized as the Auxiliary Employee of the Month from Mount Vernon ISD. She is a tireless worker, and you can find her any given day running from place to place, making sure that her students are taken care of. She takes great pride in her role as a paraprofessional in the life skills classroom and wants nothing more than to see her students reach their full potential. She works hard to form great relationships with students and coworkers, and the respect that she has garnered is evidence of that. You will never hear a negative word from Miss Maggie, as she is always willing to do what is the best interest of the school. More so than probably any staff member, Miss Maggie is always ready to offer an encouraging word or show appreciation to others. Although the job may go unnoticed by some, those who know what all she deals with in the classroom have great admiration for how she handles situations and carries herself each day while maintaining a great attitude. We are more than fortunate to have Miss Maggie as a member of our team at Mount Vernon High School.
Thank you.
Want to say anything?
I truly love our students.
She absolutely does. You ought to see her at work. She is great.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you. Next, we're going to go to our elementary teacher of the month. If I may have Miss Lynn Christenberry come forward, please. It says Ms. Christenberry is being recognized for her excellence in the profession as she helps lead her team and students to success. She goes above and beyond every day to help her students reach their full potential academically, socially, and emotionally. Ms. Christenberry values parent partnership in the education of her students as she builds relationships with all parents through daily communication. She demonstrates excellent classroom management, maximizing student learning. Ms. Christenberry is always the first one to share in other successes, and today we recognize her as a dedicated and valued member of our Mount Vernon Elementary School family. And I have to say, I love to go in her classroom. Her kids are great. She does a great job with them, and we're honored to have you here. So thank you very much. You want to say anything?
I just appreciate the recognition. I appreciate the school district. I bleed purple. This is the only school I've ever gone to as a student, and the only one I've ever worked at as a teacher. And so I love Mount Vernon ISD.
Oh, very good.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much. Thank you. Next, if I can have Mr. Ivan Calzada come forward. He is our middle school teacher of the month. It says Ivan Calzada is an amazing asset to our staff. He is our middle school band director and works many long hours all year long between the high school band and the middle school band. Co-workers exclaim that Mr. Calzada works hard with the students to be competitive and productive band members. He is very supportive of academics and pushes and encourages the students to keep up their assignments and grades in all their coursework. He has a concern for students and a dedication to the district. His hard work is evident in the many awards the band is receiving this spring. Here are some of the accomplishments he has helped students achieve. Middle school student making all-region band, Elizabeth Vasquez, competed in December and played in the ensemble in January. She was top 25 in her region out of 100 students. First division at the New Boston Invitational March 25th, 2022. And I do believe, well, the next one is this one. First division at UAL concert and sight reading. First time in middle school history, and as far as they go back for 15 years or more, for both concert and sight reading portion of receiving the first division. We cannot say enough good things about Ivan. He works hard to find new and productive ways to reach the needs of all the students, while also stepping in to assist his colleagues to reach students in any way he can. We are very blessed to have Ivan as one of the middle school rock stars. Congratulations. Any words?
Thank you.
Not many people want to say something. And last but not least, our high school teacher of the month for April is Miss Christy Key. Says Miss Key is a vital part of the team at Mount Vernon High School. No teacher faces more daunting daily challenges than Miss Key, but she consistently handles those situations with the utmost grace and respect while maintaining a positive disposition with students and colleagues. Without question, she cares very deeply for her students, strives daily to provide them with the very best educational experience that she can. As many can attest, working with Miss Key is an absolute pleasure, and seeing her dedication and love for life skills students is always inspiring. It takes a special personality to handle the daily activities in a life skills classroom, and Miss Key does it not only with grace, but with joy that everyone around her can feel. In addition to being great in the classroom with her students, Miss Key handles all her other professional obligations in a timely and efficient manner. She is always willing to help and volunteer whenever needed, and seeks to be a positive asset to our campus. Miss Key is more than worthy of being honored as Teacher of the Month from Mount Vernon High School. Ms. Christy Key. Any words?
No, just thank you.
Just thank
I'm
you.
emotional.
All right, if you all five of you will come back, we're gonna take one group picture with everybody, please.
We have some more recognitions after y'all.
Yeah.
And then before we get into our action items. If y'all don't know, we usually go to executive session at the end of the meeting. But this time it was different, so thanks for your patience. And we're just here. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I sure will. I sure will. Absolutely. Come on in.
Get ready?
Thank you all so much. Let's see. Let's go here. Amber Burrows. Ms. Amber's not here.
I haven't seen this yet.
Okay, all right. Next, we will have Ms. Cook. If you will come up, please. Ms. Cook is one of our teachers and over our TAFE group, and so she's going to share with us a great accomplishment of a pair of our students and tell us a little bit about TAFE.
Where's the best place for us to be?
Stand right there, right now, if you'd like.
Over here. Yeah. For camera reasons, let's come over here.
Yes, go ahead. I guess we'll just spend some.
Set that right here, and then the camera.
Actually, you set it, actually, you
Yeah.
set it right up in here.
Yep.
Just set it right across the table. I'm gonna come around.
So I just wanted to tell you a little bit about our TAFE program, and a lot of you probably don't know what TAFE is. TAFE stands for Texas Association of Future Educators. And I'm the sponsor of the TAFE here at the high school, and it is a student organization. We have 24 members, we have 7 elected officers, and we've had a really busy year. I also teach the class that has the instructional practices and practicum students, and we have 16 kids in that class. And they're the kids that go out and do student interning for 6 hours a week and get actual experience in the classroom working with other teachers. So we're growing our own teachers here in Mount Vernon through this program. So it's really exciting for me that we can do that with these students, and they get real everyday experience with what it would be like to be in the field of education. Our program again has 24 members. We have the officers, and we started our competition road this year with our area competition. We took 16 students to area and 8 projects, and that was held at Region 8. And out of those 8 projects, we had 6 projects advanced to the state competition in Dallas, and 14 students went on that trip and competed in Dallas and had a wonderful time. At our state competition, there's about 2,500 students from all over Texas, all sizes of schools, and so Mount Vernon just, you jump in and hope for the best. And we're so excited that we had 2 of our students advance to the National Education Convention this summer in Washington, D.C. So myself and 2 students are going to go to Washington in June and represent Mount Vernon and see all that we can see, and they're going to present their project at the convention. We had 2 students that advanced. The first student is Emma Larson, and she had a family emergency and couldn't be with us this evening, so I hate that for her. But a little bit about her: she's a 2-year member of TAPI. She's the current vice president of our chapter. She's a student council treasurer. She's been in FCCLA for a year, and she's been in Spanish club for 2 years, so she's very involved. And her partner in the project is Miss Nicole Morales, and she's a junior here at Mount Vernon High School. She's a 1-year member of TAPI. She's the current parliamentarian for our chapter. She's been in FCCLA for 3 years. She's the current FCCLA secretary, so I've got her in both organizations as an officer. She's the Interact secretary, and she's also in Leaders of Tomorrow. So I'm just super excited for these 2 young ladies that are going to get to go to Washington and represent Mount Vernon. And Nicole's going to tell you a little bit about their project.
No, please do. Yeah.
So our interactive bulletin board is called Build My DNA, and we realized that the reason we made the board is we realized that when you have that shift from 8th grade going into high school, it can be overwhelming because you have a lot of information coming at you, and we didn't really know how we could find a way for students to process this information. So with Build My DNA, students can physically match nucleotides to their corresponding match. So starting at the beginning, we would have cytosine and guanine. The parts are color-coded, so thymine is green, so you would match thymine to its match, which is adenine. So adenine is blue. You would build the DNA strand all the way down, and then students can also match definitions and traits. And we just want to say thank you to our administration for helping us get here and supporting us all the way through. Thank you so much.
Very good. Is this the first TAPI students we have that will be advancing to nationals?
Yes,
Very good.
yes. We've done that.
Very good. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Mr. President, next is Ms. Barnes with Destination Imagination, and she's going to introduce her students and tell us a little bit about what they've done.
Okay, so I had 7 teams this year that competed at the DI regional competition in Mesquite, and of our 7 teams, 4 placed, and so I was going to give them their medals, and then we also had 2 that advanced to the state competition, so I was going to let them tell a little bit about their project. So the first medals that I would like to hand out are to my fine arts group, so to the girls of Luris, and they picked their own names, by the way. So the title of theirs is the Girls of Luris, and so in their challenge they had to write a performance in which they had to have a costume change, and all of their group members are not here. Do y'all want to tell them a little bit about your project?
Okay, so the reason we named it the Girls of Luris is because we named the setting of the skit was in medieval times, so it was in a kingdom called the Kingdom of Luris.
Yes, and we were the setting of it was like modern, but it was like medieval times.
Yeah.
So we were all in like Renaissance type dresses, and all of us played a part. There were 3 townspeople. Morgan was a guard, and I was the queen. And so we went through this whole thing, and it was about betrayal and friendship, and there was a ton of stuff in it, and it was really fun to do.
They had to, like in the DI, I don't remember if all of y'all were here, but there are certain requirements that their performance has to incorporate, and so one of theirs was a trickster character that had to portray certain things. They had to incorporate a costume transformation, and so they had to make all of that on their own, and so they earned points based on how well they did. So, and they got 4.
Very good.
Out of
Come back up, please. Let's get your picture, please.
Can I get this picture
Ms. Barnes, did you get there and take the picture with them?
Oh, sorry, Miss Summer's our photographer, and she's not here tonight, and I'm doing a horrible job. I am so sorry. I was like, wait, I need a picture. Ready? Cheese.
Ladies, congratulations.
Yeah, you wanna go ahead and do hers really quick?
Yes, real
Absolutely.
quick.
Absolutely.
And then that way, we roll.
Yes.
No, you are perfectly fine. You are perfectly fine.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Miss Cole.
Good job with the presentation.
Good luck in that.
Thank you, Miss Barnes.
Oh, it's okay. Okay, so the next group, they don't want me to say their team name, so I won't. So they chose to do the improvisational challenge, which is where they are looking up information and researching, gathering as much information as possible before the actual event, because they do not know what they are going to get when they get into the room. So they have to go in there with all of the information and be prepared with any situation or scenario. So with my improvisational group, please come. The name is kind of a joke, but it's okay. So this group, y'all come on up here. Do y'all want to tell them kind of what your challenge was?
So in our challenge, we had to research a bunch of different festivals from all around the world, and then once we got up to the actual day of the competition, we had to draw out of a hat, and whichever festival we got, we had to use all the knowledge that we gathered to act out a skit.
And they could take with them 10 boxes to use as items for their, and this group actually was given an award out of the entire regional competition called the Da Vinci Award because of their trust with each other. So I was super proud of them for that.
Very good. Very good.
They drew the White Nights Festival.
It was like classical music, like not ballet, but like dancing. Yeah, they had ballet there. It was more of like a music festival in a sense.
So this is Craig Ross. What's your name?
Lily Johnston.
Oh, I guess I should say their name. I'm sorry.
JC Hughes.
Okay.
Liz
Okay.
Scott. Okay, I'm thinking for the picture on day one.
Up and down. Come on.
Yeah.
And they placed second.
Very good.
My next group is the PBC Pals, and this group competed in the technical competition. And this group did advance to state. They placed second at regionals, and they scored high enough to advance, and they competed at the state level a couple weeks ago.
Where was that at?
That was in Arlington. That was a stressful day.
Globe Life.
Yes, we got to go to Globe Life Park for the award ceremony. It was awesome.
Very good.
Okay, and this is the one that you got to come and watch. So, okay, y'all want to stand right here? So their challenge, they had to build 2 daring devices that overcame 3 different hazards. Thank you. You are so welcome. That's your red one. Okay, do you want to tell them a little bit about yours?
Well, our name, it doesn't really have anything to do. We use PVC pipes, obviously, and we're pals. But, you know, just a fun little name. We had to make 2 daring devices. One could use electricity, but one couldn't. So for one of them, we took a RC car and kind of took out the main electronic bits of it and made a new base, added some new things, and then we called it a space rover, and so we took it to an alien planet where an alien had held my friend captive, and we had to go through 3 hazards. And you want to tell them about the other device?
The other device was an air pressurized gun that we used to make PVC pipe out of, and we attached a bike pump to it. So we just
Pumped it up and then shot it.
So what were the 3 obstacles?
We had a bridge that went over lava, which broke Sputnik now. A tunnel that Sputnik went through to save the friend, which was me. And a hoop that Sputnik crossed through to
Push the red button.
Push the button and get the bad guy out so he could shoot him with the gun.
Okay, very good.
And there is actually like, as we were unloading everything to get ready for their competition, it broke like 15-ish minutes before the competition, and I was in full-blown panic mode. I'm like, oh my gosh, we're done. And Paul was like, just give me the soldering iron. And he fixed it. He fixed it. So major props to that, because I would have been, So I would have given up, but they did not. And they went out there and they finished, and it broke during the competition, but it was okay. They carried on like nothing had happened, and that was what it was all about. So.
Excellent, very good. Tell everybody your names real quick.
I'm Eli McGonigal. I'm Paul Bentley.
Addison Pointer.
Very good. All right, great job.
Ready? Oh, wait.
Oh, we got it. Do you want to redo that? Did you get it?
Got it.
Okay. Sorry. Okay. Riley? So the last one, this group actually placed first in the service learning category. And her team, the rest of them aren't here. But they did a service learning project, so they chose to try to come up with something to help the community, and so they chose to try to start like a little tutoring program here at school.
Yeah, we tutored like 10 kids, and it was 5th and 6th grade, and we did math and science so far, but I don't know if they're going to keep continuing it, but that's what we've done so far.
So, and then that group also placed first in the instant challenge, which is the challenge they go into a room and they know nothing about, and we still can't talk about it. So I still don't know what they did. But I don't know they got first. So they did good, whatever it was.
There's also only one team too, so.
You went.
Brandon, you said y'all tutored some students? I mean, what did y'all tutor on? Did I miss what you tutored?
Math and science.
Okay. All right.
Yep. Very good. All right.
Yep.
Great job.
You can take your picture with me. Okay.
Very good. Congratulations. The girls in the first group.
Oh, okay. First group, the ones that were here, we had Monica Sell, Callie Clark, and Morgan Fountain.
Very good. Very good. Students, parents, thank you so much. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, we're gonna check and see if anybody signed up for open forum. We're gonna carry on with the meeting. If y'all have homework, lesson plans, anything else, Ms. Key, thank you. Yeah.
Good job.
I'm doing okay, thank you.
Congratulations, everyone.
Hey, Becca, what's Mama gonna do next month? She's up here last
Hey, good job. Thank y'all. Good luck. Good luck. Thank y'all for being here.
See you, Dan. Good to see y'all.
Stuck with us.
Okay. Any of y'all here to speak up and open forum?
There was
James, you got
nobody,
something to say?
there was nobody signed up.
All right. Yeah. Figure out where we're at here. No, nobody signed up, right? Okay. Item 6, consider approval of consent agenda. Are there any questions on the consent agenda? If there's no questions on the consent agenda, Brooke, do you have one?
No.
Okay. If there's no questions, then I need a motion that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Motion.
That's made by Linda, seconded by Robert. All four. That's 7-0. Thank you. Man, you can make a motion in a little bit if you want to, and I won't call you Scott.
I didn't want to embarrass him.
Kind of like when you're calling your kids, you go through every name before you get the one that you're wanting to not usually end up.
I usually end up starting.
I was moving too fast. Okay, action items on number 7 here. Item 8, consider approval of TASB Risk Management Fund Interlocal Participation Agreement.
This is the agreement that we have with them. They've not asked us to do this in the last couple of years, but they are this year. The only thing we have with them is unemployment, but it's just the interlocal participation agreement to be able to continue that with them is all it is.
Any questions on that? Hey, Ms. Barnes.
Can't live without my purse.
Do I have a motion that we approve TASB Risk Management Fund Interlocal Participation Agreement?
So moved.
Motion made by Brooks, second by Lee and Ramsey. All four. 7-0.
Thank you.
We don't really know if we should.
I know, I'm not so sure.
Item B, consider adoption of the MVISD District of Innovation Renewal Plan 2022 through 2027.
So we had to go through a renewal process for our District of Innovation because it is coming up in the May 2020 year, this next month, that will expire. So we had to go through the process to gather our District of Innovation exemptions that we are asking for TEA to be exempt from. And we took those before our District of Innovation Committee, which also acts as our district site-based committee. So we went through those exemptions. We had a majority vote on that. We have had that posted for 30 days as required by TEA on our district website. So now it is before you as a board for approval.
No changes,
No changes, because it was the original one. And then the amendments that we brought before you to also add to the DOI, and so that is an accumulation of all of those things. We have no new changes to that. Yes.
Okay, any questions from Ms. White on that? Well, so at this time, entertain a motion to adopt the MVISD District of Innovation Renewal Plan for 2022 through 2027. Motion made by Linda, seconded by Robert, all four. 7-0.
Thank you.
Item C, consider approval of the 2022-2023 academic calendar.
So on to the really important step. This is the most important piece of everything we do. So again, working with our district site-based committee, I sent out a survey asking for feedback from the school on instructional planning days, start days, how they wanted to use that, any professional development that they were requesting for next school year, and just to give us some feedback to have going into the site-based committee meeting. So I took all of that feedback in to our members. We met as a committee, worked through that, and presented 2 options to the school, to the district. And after the initial vote, the calendar before you had 144 responses with 79% of the votes for this one. After that, we had additional feedback. So part of what site-based was also doing for us was going back out onto their campuses as campus representatives and getting staff retention and staff quality feedback. In other words, things that we could make sure that we were looking at as a district to retain, recruit, and keep our teachers and the staff that we have. So as that information came in with feedback from those representatives, and then Dr. McCullough also had the opportunity to have some one-on-one meetings with teachers, we decided to present a third option that came out. So we worked up another calendar. I asked some teachers to stop by my office, give me some feedback that were also on-site based just before we rolled this out as an option. So we did a second round of voting, so this calendar went up. The other calendar changes was this calendar with 10 additional days added to the school day and 4 additional.
10 minutes, sorry. 10
I'm
minutes.
sorry.
10 hours.
No,
That's
10 minutes. I just asked Jessica what she put in the food. I was like, what did you put in the food? We're all goofy. Okay. I'm sorry. 10 minutes to the school day, and that added 4 extra teacher days to the calendar. So that went out, and after that, we had 107 responses to that, and 53% of the people that voted again to keep the original calendar that won. It was a 7-vote difference. So we did have that time, and so it's one of those things, kind of like watching the stock market in my office. I literally watch it all day. Just watch the vote tallies come in. After that, I looked to see how many of those votes were actually teacher votes. So out of that, 69 were actual teacher votes, and there was a 3-vote difference for this calendar and for the other calendar.
So if you happen to have your calendar pulled up, the option A that she's sharing with you, if you'll notice she color codes it, which is great.
Right.
Okay? So blue days are PD days, green days are true teacher days.
We don't touch them. So I
Yeah.
say the blue days are structured or they're instructional planning. Green days are what I call principals can't touch them, we can't touch them, they're true. What I need to do as a campus teacher is what I need to do. We're not regulating that day. So I actually added 4 green days into the calendar. Now I will tell you, I think some of the concern was, again, what does that 10 extra minutes of the day looks like? And for someone that was a teacher for a long time, when you're hoofing at the end, 10 minutes kind of feels like forever. And so I think that was a little bit of hesitation for teachers based on feedback that they gave me just in questions that I got once I rolled the calendars out. So I think some of those that didn't want to extend the day, the others that I got, the type of feedback that I got was they felt we had already done a good job of embedding those instructional planning days in their calendar, and they didn't want to miss instructional time with students. So when I asked the teachers who voted for this calendar in front of you versus the one that we rolled out, they said, I feel like I have enough time built in and I need that time with kids. That's 4 more days that I don't have in front of students, and I've got, for example, math. If you look at the year, and I have my teachers do a pacing calendar, so they literally pace out what their units look like. And if you look at math, it's day 1 to right up until STAR. So I did know there would be concerns specifically with math and science that would feel a little bit of a bind, because we'd already taken days for PD and then taking more days. So just to kind of give you some feedback that I heard. And the other thing that I said is, this is a true example of democracy where every vote matters, because it was a 3-vote difference between teachers and it was a 7-vote difference total district-wide, and it was a very close calendar race. So when I always say, when we put out something for voice and for input, utilize it, because your voice does matter and your vote does matter here. So just to give you some of the feedback we had.
So how she did that was, there was an additional green day in the fall semester and 3 additional green days in the spring semester. Again, kind of what we're trying to give them an opportunity is from feedback of they needed some time. You know, we have a large number of teachers that stay late or work on weekends. And we're looking at that opportunity of seeing if we embedded some of that time. But in taking 4 student instructional days off, we needed to recapture that so that whereas there came the 10 minutes added on to the day. So it still allowed us the flexibility of kind of what we have into our calendar. But that's why I said that the vote was still for option A of what we originally had, and that's what's before you. We'll continue to take feedback throughout. I mean, we'll have this conversation again moving into next year, and again, try to do a way, look at something in regard to where we really can continue to work and provide opportunities for our teachers as well.
And I do value and appreciate the site-based because that is a majority teachers. That's 2/3 campus teachers that make up that site-based committee. So to feel that voice is represented and they're a great committee to bounce off of and kind of go 360 around it. And so I do think it'll be interesting to see what next year holds based on what other districts around us are choosing to do and what we decide to do as we work with the community.
2 things I want to point out in the calendar we're presenting to you. One is that if you'll look, there is at least 1 day in each month of whether it be at least it's a day out for teachers and students, at least one. And also, again, after feedback from what we received this year, especially for this week coming up, Good Friday is a holiday on this calendar.
And that was one of the things I asked on the survey was how important is it for you to have Good Friday off? So that was another question that I asked on the initial survey before we put calendars forward. Another question was February. February, you kind of come out of that Christmas break, you feel rejuvenated, and then February kind of hits you and you're starting to feel it. And so the other question was, would a 3-day weekend or a 4-day weekend be important to you coming into February? So those were some really specific questions we asked staff, and that was again district-wide as we were thinking of the pace of the year and kind of how it feels as you go into the year.
So to be transparent, we are going to school this year on Good Friday solely because of the Reading Academy. Is that
We
right?
we lost the,
Monday
I don't
after.
have it, yeah, we lost it because of the bad weather. And we had, right, we
Well,
had.
no, Good Friday was still a school day.
Oh, that's
We had
The Monday.
instead of Good Friday, we had the day after for the Easter break because every one of our elementary teachers were at the Reading Academy today.
Yes.
So therefore, to try not to have just a 3-day
Here.
week crammed in here, we looked
Yeah.
at the option of the Monday after instead of Good
Right.
Friday.
Just thinking about how that would seem to parents, and it was a weird, jagged, and we didn't have that ability to move the Reading Academy day since I was at our regional.
So do our students here go to school more minutes than other schools?
I would have to do a data analysis on that. to
That's a
give you
yes and a no.
firm answer.
I mean, that's a yes and a no. There are going to be some that go more minutes than us, and there are going to be some that just do the minimum.
75,600 is the minimum
We just,
operational.
say it's like a board member, we might get a question of, our biggest deal is gonna be saying, why are y'all starting school the first week of August or whatever, when another school might start the second week? So I'm trying to get you,
So
Cameron,
here-
to kind of explain that we're all going to school pretty close to the same amount of minutes.
Oh, exactly.
We just structured it.
Well, and the other thing with that is to embed those instructional planning days for teachers, we had to push up start because you think every one of those blue days is a day we don't have students. So that adjusts when we start. So the second calendar that went before the school district actually started a week after for students, option B. And so like I said, we didn't even have 30% of the votes hitting for option B, and that was a later school day for students. So it was the next week. So they did have that as an option. But it also, in that, we started a week late. So think about your parents that are like, oh, that's great, that gives us another week that we can go on vacation and whatnot. But in that process, you lost then some of those instructional planning days. So it's kind of, you trade one to get the other. The other thing that you don't know on that is how many minutes a school district is going. So I think a big thing for us has been not to have to extend after school's supposed to be out, or to have teachers have to come back on a Saturday, or come after school's actually supposed to end, playoffs and things like that. So really having some minute structure that as we have things happen, water main breaking, that we aren't then inconveniencing parents as much as possible. So I think those schools that run up right to the minutes, it's a gamble that
We're
you're
gonna be
having.
close this year, right, though, when time we get out? We're not gonna be like way over.
No.
Since we had some things, so.
Because we had COVID closure, we had the playoff games, so we kind of took advantage of some of that. We took some days, so.
Busted deal, yeah. Okay.
So option A is the recommendation we're bringing for you tonight.
Okay.
I make a motion that we approve the 2022-2023 academic calendar. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Linda, all four. 7-0.
Thank you.
Item D, consider approval of interlocal agreement between Franklin County and the district for tax collection.
It is what it is. It's before you had the interlocal agreement in your board packet. Continuation of what we've been doing.
Any questions on that? So I need a motion that we approve the interlocal agreement between Franklin County and the district for tax collection.
I'll make that one.
Motion made by Scott,
Second.
second by Linda, all four. That's 7-0. Item E, last action item, consider professional contracts as recommended by the superintendent. Who?
Janina Westbrook, our new school nurse,
Sorry, that was not in mine. I didn't see that, I don't think, in mine.
for the elementary.
Okay. Janina, say it again.
Janina Westbrook.
New nurse for elementary.
New nurse for elementary, replacing Rebecca Huff. Through professional.
Okay. Is that it? So we need to approve Ms. Westbrook.
I'll make that motion.
All right, motion is made by Brooks, seconded by Scott, all four. 7-0. Information items, enrollment totals.
You see, as of April 1st, 1,522 students, which is up 33 students from this time last year. We're hoping pretty consistent right through there.
Okay. And how about our food service TDA audit?
I want to turn this over to Ms. Rachel and give her the floor and allow her to share with you the good news from the audit, as well as all the good things that she's got going in food service department.
Hi, for y'all that don't know me, I'm Rachel Kaywood, and I have the privilege of being the Mount Vernon ISD Child Nutrition Director. And this is my 12th school year working in the Child Nutrition Department. So we had a wonderful audit. And so we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to give you a little update on everything. I'm going to talk about how many lunches we've been feeding, how we're doing money-wise, tell you about some of the challenges we've had throughout the school year.
It's warming up.
It's warming up, so we did have I went further back than I really intended, just so that you guys could get because you know we've had challenges of COVID. As you know, we've been dealing with that for a while. So we had to go back to 2018, 2019 to look at a regular school year. But we've been dealing with this now since 2020, and it did affect us, you could tell. So technical aspects of the review, for any of you that haven't heard anything about a review for the school as far as the child nutrition department goes, there's two parts of it. The procurement review, that looks at all the money side. It'll look at the way that we buy our items. It looks at the invoices. It checks out all of that. The other side is called the AR part of the review. That part of the review is all about the CN department and how it functions. Miss Van Dever and Jessica White were praised by the auditors for how timely we got the invoices and reports to her. She was very impressed with the organization of the entire department. Our auditor mentioned it multiple times, so it was kind of nice to hear that. I've never heard that from TVA before, so that was great. This is talking about the AR side of the review. What do they look at? So here's all the things they look at. 100, 200, 300, 800, 900, 1,000, 1,100, 1,200, 16, 2,100. Those are all things they looked at. There was another little section down there that talked about dietary specifics. I could not get a good, but anyway, inside of that one thing alone, there's 121 questions that had to answer. I did 111 uploads for this.
Wow.
This was, they wanted to see everything. So if y'all can imagine taking all your applications, we only have 1,500 students or so.
Mm-hmm.
I uploaded about 600 to 700 students' names for her to look at. So she was looking at what? You know, used to it was just free, reduced, denied. They picked a few here and there out of each category, but not anymore. So it's like, okay, let me just get my roster and just upload the whole thing practically. But it all came out great. She was very impressed. The verification, that's something else that we had to do because we did accept applications, so we had to do verification. All of those came out absolutely perfect. We had no findings on the CE side. The production records, I don't know if y'all are aware, but we had issues with production records in the past. We had to submit all of our recipes, which did not exist until this year. We have recipes for everything now. Our CN labels, our nutritionals, just one day alone can have 20 to 25 items that we serve. Because you think about every mustard, ketchup packet, you gotta have it all. So we had it all ready to go, and she had no questions about any of it. So that was really good. Once the actual week of review comes, then you gotta do all that again. You gotta fill them all out again. You gotta submit it again. She looks at your menu again, and then she checks all of your math to make sure that you're producing enough food for these kids. If you're supposed to be serving however many pounds of carrots, she goes up against the food production record to make sure that you prepared enough. So, the day of review. I don't know if y'all know, but I remember that day very well. I came to Susan out here in Mount Vernon, ISD, right over there, got me a hotel room because it was icy perhaps.
That's right.
And I live on the other side of Paris, and I did not want to take a chance on having any ice or any kind of problems or leaving at midnight and trying to drive or whatever. So it started at 6:30 over there in the middle school. She wanted to see all kinds of stuff, the temperature logs, the warmers, coolers, freezer logs. She wanted to look in the walk-in. She wanted to look in the freezer. She wanted to look in the storeroom. She checked all of it. So that's what we did. And then she watched breakfast and lunch. She watched them preparing the food, and she also watched us serving the food. If just one student fails to grab their fruit and the cashier forgets, doesn't tell them, that's a finding. So we did not have a single child that did not pick up what they were supposed to have. I'll tell y'all. It was almost as though we just rehearsed them for this one little day. They didn't even have to remind any of them. I was just amazed. I'm like, these kids are totally on today. What do you know? Because I've had children before, and I'd be like, you got to get a fruit or vegetable. I'm not going to eat it. You still have to get it, honey. Pick one or the other. So anyway, it was a fun day. She got done probably about 4:30. There were absolutely no findings on our side. No findings. I'm very proud of that. I looked at the last two reviews. One of them had 2 findings, and one before that had 5. So there was no findings on our side. We did have one on the procurement review. That was not our fault. That actually had to go back to the bid that we used to purchase our food. The co-op is the one that was responsible for the finding that we had. And that was a rollover bid, so everyone that used that co-op bid got these findings. So if we hadn't had those, we would have had an absolutely perfect review. But there was nothing that I could do about that. I wasn't even around when that happened. So, y'all know we're doing CEP down there at the elementary, and we've been free here for the last couple of years because of SSO. So how are we doing with that? I wanted y'all to see that. I wanted you to actually look at that. So this is actual meals. And we went on all the way back to 2018, 2019, because that was our last normal year. And there, we fed 179,913 meals that year. 2019, 2020 is the year that we went CEP for the first time. And if you'll look, we were up. And then COVID hit. March 2020, that's why I have that in red. That's when COVID hit and we shut down. So we only fed 178,512 meals. I say we only fed because we were barely down 1%. So we were really rocking and rolling, you know, up until COVID hit. And then this is what we did last school year. Now, mind you, that's when I came to work here. 3-1, the reason that's in purple is because that's when I started doing the menus. February was another menu. But as you can tell, we were up. We were up to 189,361 meals. Now this year so far, that's what we fed, 172,328 to the end of March. Already, we are only down 17,033 meals. So we've already fed almost as much. It's amazing. So whatever we feed come May, it's going to be all great. Okay? So what does that mean when we look at money? Here we go. All right, so this shows you how much we got in money. 2018, 2019, that was how much we got in claims. This does not include all our cards. Those sales, that's not in there. That's something extra. School year 2019, 2020, even though we were down a little bit as far as the meals, you can see we made more money. And then 2020, 2021, that was another $100,000 we were up. And then here we are so far this year. $646,021.02. That's without April and May included in there. So I don't have any projections as to what we're going to do in April and May because I would like to think that we're going to do $80,000 at least in April and May. So that's what I'm thinking. I might be wrong. Kids sometimes frequently surprise me. The days that I think, oh, they're going to be eating like crazy. And then we have a day that I'm thinking, why did y'all like this all of a sudden? So I don't know. But the kids at the high school alone, we've gone from feeding like 20 to 30 when I first came to now most of the time we have at least 50 students up to, we've had close to 70 for breakfast. So we've had a great increase. And we used to feed 125 to 145 students. Most days we feed anywhere between 170 up to our biggest day was a 217. That's without Crispitos, which is their favorite item. We haven't been able to get Crispitos all year long because they stopped producing the whole grain ones. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to get a waiver to do the non-whole grain. So I was quite proud of that. And a lot of times down there at the elementary, we are feeding most of the time 65 to 75% of the students at lunch. And now, middle school, those kids, they really go with the weather. I can't tell you what they're going to do that day. But I did find out they really like donut holes. So we're having those tomorrow. We'll see tomorrow. And we did have a challenge this year. We had a week where we only had one school that had gas. All right. Ordinarily, you know, we're down here cooking at the middle school, and we go down the, it's not a hallway, it's the breezeway. We go down the breezeway with food. We had a day that we were coming all the way from the elementary and bringing it up to the high school and to the middle school. We had 4 days of that. But we were able to get them fed, and we did have hot meals. They didn't have to have sandwiches every day. So we were able to change the menus enough. Meals are up despite the fact we missed 2 additional days in both January and February because of we had COVID, we had ice, we had those problems. The cafeteria staff, they have rallied for every single challenge that I gave up to them. I'm like, okay, guys, we don't have any gas. What are we going to do? You know, so you get a little creative. And the ladies are so excited because they fed so many children. And to, you know, those are not just numbers. Those are children's bellies getting full. Okay? So we are really excited about the things we've done, and we hope to continue it next year, but I will tell you this, we're not able to continue with COVID thinking next year. So unless something drastically changed, like the senator support bill that's out there that's caused, it says support the students, not red tape. That's a special bill, then we won't be able to do it. But anyway, we're still way up this year, and that's going to continue. That money's going to help us. The cafeterias will not have to borrow from the school board, thank goodness. For a while, anyway. And that's all I have for you.
Well, I just want to say in regard to Miss Rachel, we are truly fortunate that she's here, as you've seen tonight with what she shared with you. She and her staff have done a phenomenal job. You know, so there's been a couple of times this year, whether it be without gas or even when different times with water issues, whatever. Miss Rachel, I mean, I'm coming to you because if you can't do it, I got to cancel school. She said, Dr. McCullough, we got it. And so she has continued to do so. And again, her staff, they've done phenomenal. And I just want to say for everybody, Miss Rachel, we're grateful you're here. We're grateful for the job that you do. And we're blessed that you're a part of what we do and of taking care of our kids. So thank you very much for what you do.
Thank you.
Again, that audit really is, if you didn't understand, it really is a big deal. And again, they did a phenomenal job to get all of that taken care of and meet the timelines and do everything that's needed to do. So, any questions for Ms. Rachel?
Just tell your people how much we appreciate them.
I will.
Sometimes we get caught up in life. Leanne's got 19 kids. It's hard for her to come up here and tell everybody thanks. Tell them we appreciate them. Seriously.
Yes, sir. I will.
She don't know
Hey,
why.
all mine are eating at the lunch.
Oh, there you go.
They stopped asking me to pack their lunch and said they wanted a tray.
Item C, financial update.
That's just a financial update that we try to provide for you in the board packet. Gives you the where we stand in those three funds, 199, 240, and 599. Any questions in regard to those? It's just for your information.
Okay.
I'm continually sinking just a little bit each time. I just feel myself kind of going down. Don't breathe.
Item D, 2021-2022 school board continuing education credit hours report. Got one thing here I'll read.
So it's a little preview to what he's fixing to read. In the past, a continuing board member, which all of these are, were only required to have 5 hours of continuing education or 5 hours of continuing training. New board member was to have 10. That requirement has had some additions to that, and so therefore Aaron, as board president at the April board meeting, has to read what he's about to read in regard to board training. And so, okay.
And we still have time to, we just did some board training. Yeah. It's not on here, so
Correct.
we continue to do some board training. Yeah.
So the report he's about to read has from a calendar timeline of March 3rd or April 3rd, 2021 to March 31st of 2022. So please go ahead.
All right. Per State Board of Education, Texas Education Code 11.159B, semicolon 19, Texas Administrative Code 61.1, comma, the following Mount Vernon ISD school board members have exceeded the required continuing education credit hours for 2021-2022 in the following areas: cybersecurity, post-legislative update to the Texas Educational Code, Texas Child Abuse Prevention, team building, additional continuing education, evaluating and improving student outcomes. So Robert Taylor has exceeded the required continuing education hours. Scott Newsom has exceeded. Aaron Sanders has exceeded. Josh Jordan is deficient. Brooke Basell is deficient. Linda Baird has exceeded, Leanne Ramsey is deficient. All right, no action is needed on that, no motion, we still have time if we are deficient in some of that too. Like I said, we just did 2 hours tonight, and we did 3 hours, we did 3 hours the other day, so we're probably actually all.
Actually, all board members with the 5 hours of training that they've received since April, or since March 31st, truly, they are exceeding that and not deficient. So,
Okay.
so Leanne, don't feel bad, you're not deficient, you exceed that.
Or over. Some of us are over.
We need to go back to executive for a bit. So, before we do the personnel report, we need to run back to executive session for just a bit, because we didn't get that in a while ago. So at this time, which is 7:25 in the PM, we will go into executive session.
We shouldn't be very long.
Air's not off in here.
8:48, board convenes back into open session. Dr. McCullough, do we have any resignations?
We do, we have Amy Watson, Rhonda Oren, Trina Luby, Sissy Aguilar, and Megan Bevins. 7th grade, ELAR. That's it.
Okay, any further business? Meeting's adjourned at 8:48 and a half.